Good morning and welcome everybody to another DARPE webinar. I just wanted to thank you all for coming in on time and for giving us some of your space so we can talk a little bit about how to use business intelligence in order to win more grants and tendering opportunities across the Middle East. Now, I'm going to be talking you through a lot of different modalities and a lot of different tools that you can use in order for you to improve your process of winning different proposals. But primarily, I'm going to be looking at how you can do that using our platform. But more or less, it's through a process of scouting, engaging, positioning, and capturing different opportunities. And I'll explain what that means as we go forward. Now, one of the most important steps in the beginning of when you're looking for funding opportunities is for you to search for those opportunities or to scout for them. There are multiple different websites that from donor agencies that'll list out all the opportunities that are available for you and for other organizations to apply to. And so we often recommend that organizations create a matrix of all the funding donors that they want to track in order for them to basically be in the know for everything that is new in that organization's funding profile. But the problem with doing that is it's a little bit cumbersome because you would have to manually go into each and every website of those donor profiles in order for you to figure out what's new in your page. And you may actually end up missing something because you may not be looking at it regularly. And so here's where we really recommend using websites like DARPE because we're aggregating websites. What we do best is that we already search for the opportunities for you, and then we classify them and filter them out. So all you have to do is essentially create your daily email alert, and it'll come to your email with just all of the opportunities that are just relevant to your specific needs. And so if you click on the funding page in our website, it'll take you to a page that looks like this with the filtration criteria, and all of the results will be listed in this way. It'll show you who the client is, the title of the opportunity, the deadline, the sectors and services it's in, what country is covered, the type of the opportunity, and the status of what it's was going for. We currently mark 4 different statuses. The ones that are accepting bids, i.e. they're open for you to bid for and they have a deadline. The forecasted opportunities are usually bigger chunks of money that go from $12 to $24 million, and they're not yet open for you to bid on. But because they're so huge in opportunities, we think it's important for you to keep an eye out on them for when they do open up for you to apply to. And then we have our closed opportunities, which we keep as an archive because we think it's a really good resource for you to figure out what donor agencies have funded in the past. And it's a good way for you to figure out what their funding priorities are. And the last one is the open call for applications. And these are opportunities that don't have a deadline, and clients are just accepting applications on a rolling basis. And so these are really good for NGOs that are looking for grants, for example. And so say you've identified the USAID as a prime client for yourself that you want to work with on a regular basis, and this is the only donor that you're interested in working in because you've had a good relationship with them in the past. You can decide to only isolate USAID entries and say you only want to work with them in Palestine because that's where you're based, and you want to look at those opportunities that are accepting bids and forecasted so that you can see what you can work on today and what you can anticipate to work on in the future. And you can click search. And it'll pull up all the different opportunities that you can work on. These are some of this is the forecasted opportunity. It's a grant in Palestine for democratic governance and advocacy and awareness raising. Here we've got a few grants and tenders. Some of them are forecasted opportunities, and some of them have deadlines that are coming up. And so these are all different ways for you to search for opportunities that will work best for your organization. Now, where DARPE has its strong suit is that we don't just give you the opportunity itself. We link you with a bunch of information about the donor itself so that you can write a strong proposal, because it's not enough for you to identify the opportunity. It's important that you make sure that the proposal that you're writing caters to that donor agency. And so say you click on the opportunity that you're looking for. It'll give you all of the details about the opportunity, and we'll give you the attachment to the original TOR and the link to where we found it and the reference number, as well as the contact information for those who are in charge of it. And the reason we do that is because we want to make sure that you can easily access the person who you direct your questions to, and you can easily submit your proposal to. And we give you the link to the original because sometimes there will be an extension on that opportunity, and you want to make sure that you're able to access that. And so that's everything that you need to know about finding the opportunity. Now, what is even more important is that you engage that donor and you cater your proposal to their priorities, to their objectives, to their mission. And you'll often find that grant providers will mention this specific language when they are writing their proposal request, their RFP. And so we give you a profile of that donor agency, and if you click on any of these logos, it'll take you to the donor's profile. Now, we'll give you a brief snippet about who they are. We'll also give you contact information for specific people who are working there. And it's just a great idea to make sure that you include these people in your mailing lists, because they can then start receiving information about your organization and they can start learning about you. And the more they hear your name, the more likely they are to give you money, because what better way, what are donors looking for more than an organization that they've heard about in the past and that they trust because they've seen what their work can do. And so this is what we call the engagement phase of proposal writing. And a lot of times it's not enough just to look at opportunities that have come out already. It's also important for you to look at opportunities for funding that are unsolicited. So maybe it works that way for USAID because they usually do, they will put out an RFP that is very clear about what they're looking for. But there are some organizations that often are accepting unsolicited, proposals. And so for them, you would need to reach out to them in order for you to start building that partnership. Especially for donor agencies like, the Arab organizations in the Gulf, which often do provide a lot of money, but they don't necessarily advertise it. Now, in our donor profile, as you can see, we give you the overview of the organization. Like I said, we give you the subsectors of interest that they've worked in, all the countries they cover, and the sectors of interest that they work in. And this is just really important because it can give you an overview of what kinds of keywords you might need to include in your proposal. Because this is a really quick shot overview of what this organization looks like, what they're interested in, and what you need to be mindful of when you write a proposal. We also give you all of their past procurement notices because, like we said, it's important to know what they funded in the past, because this is really important for you to know their priorities. And so you can also look at things they've covered in Palestine before, if this is what you are looking for and what sector it's in. And so you can really zone in on what they funded in the past in your country and sector of interest. And so that would be even more targeted information. We also give you partners they've worked with in the past. And this is really important as well, because a lot of times when it comes to grant writing and proposal writing, it's important for you to get a lay of the land. And what I mean by that is for you to make sure that you know who your competitors are and you know who might be a potential partner for you on a project. Because if they've worked with this partner before, likely enough, this partner might be submitting a proposal to the opportunity that you're going for, in which case they might be a competitor, or you might actually want to approach them in order for you to build a consortium together. Because a lot of times with bigger funding opportunities, donors want to see more than one stakeholder on the same proposal. And so you'll need to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward when you are writing your proposal. Now, in each opportunity, we actually try to make that process simpler for you by giving you widgets that actually give you suggested relevant partners. And now these are people who would have worked with the client before in that same country, sector, and service. So these are all people who have worked with USAID in Palestine, in the same democratic governance sector along the lines of events management and communication. Now, because this is an artificially created listing, you would need to make sure that you are looking at what kinds of organizations these are, and we list them for you as private sector. We'll tell you if it's an NGO, and you will need to filter them out to see what's the best possible partner for you as you lead this project. We also give you suggested individual consultants, and these would have also worked with that same client in that same country, sector, and service. And so these are good people for you to approach while you're building your consortium, especially if you don't have everybody on your team that the proposal might be requiring. In this particular proposal, it might not be necessary because it's a smaller opportunity, but when it comes to bigger chunks of money, the USAID often gives out $12 million projects. And so this kind of interlinked and interconnected experience can be really key in you creating a stronger proposal. And that's what we mean by using that business intelligence in order for you to inform your proposal writing. And the last thing we do is we show you the similar requests for proposals. And this is also important because it can show you what other donors have done in the past in the same sector or service. In this case, we've pulled out all the ones from USAID, and this is important because this is where you can start reading and researching to create a more robust proposal. And so I think it's really key for you to start doing that in the very first stages of your proposal writing, because as we like to think of it, your proposal writing doesn't happen the minute the RFP comes out and you start writing. In fact, like, you should spend at least 5 days before submitting your proposals, before writing your proposal, simply researching the opportunity, reading that RFP really carefully, researching the donor, looking at different partners that you might want to approach for the opportunities, especially for bigger opportunities. And then you start writing out that proposal, because writing out that proposal should be the final stages after you've already done your pre-research work. And so DARPE is that solution for you in your research phase of your proposal writing process. Now, we don't just give you the funding opportunities. Mind you, we do make sure that you are able to access a variety of different donors. Currently, we track about 1,150 different donors and implementing partners for their funding opportunities. And so instead of you going for every single donor profile and checking out what they have today, you can create a daily alert and plug in all of the different sectors and services that you're interested in, and it'll automatically come to your inbox with the pre-filtered out opportunities that fit your criteria. And so it really filters out all the noise so you can focus in on researching that opportunity and writing the strongest proposal. And so we already give you a jump start in that process of building your portfolio of fundraising opportunities. Now, this is what we call the reactive process of fundraising, because essentially you're waiting for that RFP to come out and then responding to it. But we also think it's important for you to build partnerships and proactively seek out funding. And for that, we have an organizations directory. And when you open it up, it looks a little bit like this. And we've got about 3,700 different organizations that we've profiled that you can reach out to for partnerships. And we're actually, if you may be interested in attending this, but we're going to be hosting a webinar with one of our partners, Wataniya, which is a local NGO based in Egypt. And they're going to be talking about one of their successful processes of creating a partnership with implementing partners from the government as well as from the UNFPA organization. They managed to do this successfully by constantly sending out their emails to that donor organization and constantly seeking them out for meetings. And it took them 4 months of constantly reaching out to them before they were actually successful in putting their name on the agenda and creating that relationship. And so I actually think it's important for you not to wait just for the RFP to come out, but to follow in Wataniya's footsteps and basically do that same process of reaching out to the donor agency even before an RFP comes out. Start sending them your emails, start sending them invitations to your webinars, send them your annual reports to show them the good work that you're doing. And then they're more likely to think, oh, you know, that organization that I've heard of last year that did an excellent project on community development in Egypt through these centers for youth. And then they're more likely to give you funding because they've heard of you before. And the profiles will look a lot like the one I showed you for the USAID office. If you click on the names for it, it'll take you to their profiles, and I'll just show you one as a sample. But again, it'll have the overview, the sectors and subsectors they're interested. And we try to give you as much as possible the higher ups who are working in that organization so you can really get to the decision makers in the field. And we constantly update this list. And so if somebody leaves that office, we take their name out. And if somebody joins them newly, we put their name back in. And so, you know, we're constantly making sure that you are able to reach people who are on the ground and who are alive in that process. We also have an experts directory, and we think it's also important for you to make sure that you're looking on that because a lot of the times when it comes to the proposal writing, I'm sure you all know this already, but when it comes to the evaluation of a proposal, a lot of times the personnel, the key personnel can be up to 40% of the evaluation criteria. And so it's important for you to have people on your team that are highly qualified and who are experts in that field. And so we actually have a directory of about 419 people who have added their CVs to our profile, to our platform, sorry, who are experts in what they do. And you can filter them out by the clients they've worked with in the past, what sector and service that they can complete for you, and the countries they've worked with and what citizenship they've had. And this is just a helpful way for you to figure out, you know, I need somebody on my team to perform X service so that I can beat out the competition. And so this is just a really good way for you to do that. And say you want somebody who's worked with the USAID office before, you can do that. And that way you only pick somebody that they've trusted before. And say you only want somebody who's worked in women's rights and empowerment because that's the kind of sector that you're working in. And that's the kind of service that you want. And so then you can click search. It'll filter them out for you. Now there's 52 results. This person does capacity building and research. They've done engineering, monitoring, and evaluation. So depending on what you're looking for as a service, you can reach out to this person. Now, obviously, if they have a PhD with 26 years of experience, they're going to be a little bit more expensive than somebody with a master's degree and 10 years of experience. And so it's on you to make sure that you reach out to this person and set a score with them about how much their rate should be. But their profile will essentially look like this. It'll have a brief synopsis of who they are, their contact information, their CV, and all the clients they've worked with in the past. So this guy's worked with a lot of big hitters, and so he's more likely to be on the heavier end of things, and he's more likely to give your proposal a strong weight. And so we try as much as possible for us to filter out people. We only select people with a minimum of 5 years of experience in the development aid sector, and we really vet them to make sure that they really fit in the development aid sector. And so we really recommend that you do this with any proposal that you're writing, that you make sure that your key personnel are strongly tied with the proposal criteria, that their experience aligns with the mission and the vision of the proposal that you're applying to. And so that just makes sure that you are really the right fit for that opportunity. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is our awarded section. And that's basically another way for you to seek out funding opportunities and contract awards that way without looking at RFPs. Now, these would be opportunities that have already been awarded to a specific, donor agency or awardee, a specific implementing partner, and you may want to reach out to them about this opportunity to see if you can get subcontracting work. Now, this might take you a little bit more of a step further in terms of what needs to be done from you in terms of research, but it gives you a kind of step forward because you are more likely to then be able to reach out to different organizations for work. And so this is kind of the work that you'd see that's done on our end to help you look for that. We give you the title of the opportunity, who awarded the grant and to whom it went to, the project size, how big it is, when it was awarded, and we give you a link to the actual the TOR itself. That way you can read up on the opportunity, and so you're in the know. Before you reach out to Deloitte, you're like, hey, I've read the RFP, I know what I'm talking about. Please let me have this service that I can provide for you in your proposal writing process. And so that might look a little bit differently for a bigger project than it would for a smaller project, but that's essentially what it would look like. Now, one of our more inventive things that we've done recently, and bear in mind, this is still in the development phase, but we're trying to create analytics. This is only accessible to our members, but we're creating these analytics that show you early data on what kind of information is available for procurements that are in the market. And so this can help you plan out in advance what you may want to focus on. If you're a consulting firm, it'll help you plan out for the year what kind of work you want to pursue before RFPs are even out for funding. So as you can see here, the sectors for funding allocation are displayed as so. Here you see that women's rights and empowerment has taken on 13.4% of the sector's work. And so you may want to take that into account as you are pursuing that. We do the same for services and demand, and see capacity building is around 29%. You've got monitoring and evaluation at 13.6%. And it's actually an interactive map. So you can, whatever sector you click on, it'll tell you exactly what type of opportunity it is. And so here, these are baseline studies at 23%. And then this is final evaluations at 14.7%. And then you've got research and assessment at 61.8%. And so by knowing this in advance, as a consulting firm, I may want to, invest in some of my time in making sure that my team is trained and well prepared for taking on research and assessment opportunities, because that's where the market is heading. And so these are just kind of early, this is kind of in our early stages of development, but it's, we're trying to make sure that it works a little bit better as we go. But we show you also who's the most actively public procuring bilateral and multilateral agencies in the region. And we'll list them out for you. That way you know who are the key players in the region. And we'll show you who the key international organizations, and in this case it's CARE, and the GIZ, and that's kind of obvious when you're looking at Egypt, because this is the market analytics for Egypt. And then it'll show you who the development sectors of nonprofit implementing partners are, and that shows you that, and development sectors of nonprofit and profit implementing partners. And so this is just early in the development phase, but we do give our members access to this data to help them understand more and develop more a strong proposal and planning process. So that's everything that I had to talk to you about today. But now I'm going to open up the floor for questions. You can either submit your questions in the chat, or you can choose to unmute yourself, and you can give us your questions as we go. Oh, and by the way, I did want to mention this, and I completely forgot, but I'm seeing it in the chat right now. The CV database that I just showed you guys, with all the experts in it, is actually free for you to upload in. And so if you are an individual consultant and you'd like to have your CV featured here, all you'd have to do is create your profile, and you'll find it at the bottom of our page in the footer, create your profile. And then you can increase your visibility and make sure that you are among our top donors, top contracted individual consultants. So yeah, we'll get your CV, and until June 2022, we're actually going to be giving CV reviews for anybody who uploads their CV. But it's limited. We're not going to do CV reviews forever. And so I strongly recommend that you do this now, because I will not have the capacity to do it forever. But that's everything that we have for today. So now I'll entertain any questions you might have. Feel free to drop them in the chat. You're welcome, Hella. Give a couple more minutes for questions. Okay, so a good question is, are the information updated on a daily basis? And absolutely. So our funding database, or the funding page, or this one where we put in the grants and tenders, it's actually put in on a daily basis by our team. On a monthly basis, we post around 600 different opportunities. That's our average, if not more. And so you can check out our numbers on the bottom here if you scroll down. We source from 1,100 different organizations, and then we've got 600 tenders and grants awards monthly. And once we finish out with uploading all the different grants and tenders that were awarded that day, we move on to looking for different organizations and updating their profiles. Actually, I'm actually really proud of this, but we've actually recently taken on a project to update all of the organizations that are in our directory, and all of the profiles have been updated within the last month. And so everything that you see in there is quite up to date. As far as the funding goes, that is updated on a daily basis, and we try as much as possible to upload the opportunity in at least 24 hours of it being issued. And so you would get it as soon as it comes out hot off the presses. I see a question that's submitted from our team, actually. We're kind of wondering, what kind of challenges are you facing in partnering with development aid market, or what are you facing in issues in winning contracts and grants, and we can focus in on that. But I see from Karen a question. I would like to know if the submission of tender proposals generally done through your platform, or does it differ depending on donors? So we don't actually interfere in your process of, proposal submission. What we do is that we give you all the research information, and we give you the contact information for the person in charge. So at the bottom of each funding opportunity, you will find, let me see here. So like I said, if you click on this one, that's a forecast, so it's not the best one to choose, but if you click on any opportunity, it'll show you who the person in charge of the proposal is. And so you can send your proposal directly to them. We don't really interfere in that process. We just help you write the best proposal possible. And so here for this opportunity, it would be Sandy and Daniel. They're the ones that are in charge of that. Let's see, how can organizations in the South also benefit from the capacity? Can we get grants or samples? Unfortunately, we only work in the Middle East region. And so we cover everything from Tunisia and Morocco all the way up until Turkey. We cover everything in between. And so we are not a platform for all of the countries in the global South, unfortunately. At least not at the moment, but hopefully we can grow. I see from May that one of the challenges may be making sure the technical proposal is written in the most professional manner. Do you have tips and tricks for proposal writing? So we do have something. We have our proposal template, and this is also available for if you create a free user. And it's a proposal writing development tool. And if you click started, you can find it in our footer. And we help you write out about 40% of your proposal. We give you all the key questions that you would need to answer in order for you to write out a strong proposal. So here, you'd need to write out your vision, your objectives, your needs and issues, summarize your project, and it'll start filling it out for you. And then you just click on create PDF or create Word document, and it will download it for you. There's also you can also join the proposal writing workshops that our sister company, Beit al-Karma, offers. And these are more on the technical side on how to write a proposal with tips and tricks for that. And they also give out like mini workshops, and they'll give you templates and things like that. But I think, honestly, when it comes to the proposal writing phase, I think that's like literally only 20% of your issue. If your research is not done well, then your proposal writing is not going to come off that great. Because you need to have really strong information to write a winning proposal before you even start writing something. Because if you're writing and you haven't really researched your donor very well, so you don't know what their objectives are, you don't know what their mission is, you're not likely to be on the winning side of things. So that's why DARPE is really a stronger option for you, because it helps you kind of build that background knowledge on not just the donor organization, but the kinds of partners that they've worked with in the past, so that you can already get a heads up and like a jump start on who to start reaching out to for your partnership building. So yeah, there's that. I see Meg's asking for a link, but I'm not sure what link you are requesting. So I'm going to share with you the link to our website. Oh, for the sister company. Got you. All right. Yeah. So it's now in the chat. It's www.bk/ej.com if anybody's interested. So it's in the chat, but I'll also let you know now in case you're not reading it. But if you register as a free user now, you'll actually get a 14-day free trial subscription to the entire DARPE platform. And I strongly recommend that you do this because it'll give you a really good chance to feel out our services and see if they fit you. But we do give out a lot of information. And it's not just our daily alert that's there. We also give you a weekly alert if you want one. We try as much as possible to be there for our customers. So even if you have any questions at any point, our team is always there for you, and we love to answer any questions that you might have. Yeah, Emma, it was really great to have you on board, and we look forward to seeing you at another DARPE webinar.